The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, we have a treat first-time guest, a guy who, I gotta be honest with you, I don't know how we didn't cross paths at least once in our lives as we sit here. I've been doing this podcast for 6 years, but like, for example, you went to the University of Illinois in Chicago. I did that for a year before I went down to UIC. You live over in Beverly. My sister lives over in Beverly. You got an office in Evergreen Park. We do the podcast here in Evergreen Park. And we both worked at some point for the Cook County Sheriff. It looks like we overlapped for a couple of years. Senator Bill Cunningham is down here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. We were talking about this before we started, how we've been around each other but haven't met until now. I was thinking if you were doing dispatch in the sheriff's office. So I was the press secretary for 16 years, and then the last 4 years, I was Tom Dart's chief of staff when he became sheriff. So the dispatch people oftentimes would wake me up in the middle of the night when something bad happened. So
I've done that before,
yes.
Especially when I became like the midnight supervisor for the last 4 years that I was there. I actually woke up the sheriff one time directly on something because I looked at the thing and it was like, for something this bad, you just call him. So I've done that before too. And it's a weird thing to get that call at like 2, 3 in the morning. And I always thought to myself, I mean, that's an interesting job that you had before you became a state senator, because you're getting a call where something really bad has happened.
That's right.
Yep. And the press is already probably aware of it. And you're waking up out of a fog. You're getting the details. You're absorbing it. And you're having to react very quickly. I mean, that I always thought that had to be really difficult to do.
That's exactly right. It was, there's this sensory deprivation when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to adjust. And
you're talking to a dispatcher in the middle of the night who's had like 6 Red Bulls and really excited.
And it's usually something bad. Could be a fatal accident. Could be an officer involved in a shooting.
Yeah.
And, there's a weird thing when you're in communications, when you're a press secretary like I was, there's this yin and this yang. You want to get information out because that's your job, number one. And you also want to do it because when something like that happens, there can be an information vacuum. And if the media isn't provided with information, they fill that vacuum other ways.
Yeah, they get their story as quick as they can. So you want to kind of get the details out. So you want to
get something out. But the other thing I found, and I used to joke about this, is when some event like that happens, I would say, I always said that 100% of the time, the initial information you get is 50% wrong. Mm-hmm. Because like you as a dispatcher, you might hear something from a sergeant who got something from a patrol officer, and so it goes through a filter.
Or it's panic. I always think of the one that, like, I had right towards the end, you would have been gone. Mm-hmm. I had a helicopter that was a medevac helicopter crash on top of the hood of a sheriff's police car on the Dan Ryan in Chicago. So first of all, think of all the jurisdictions.
Yes, yeah.
And the officer comes up screaming that a helicopter just crashed on his car. Now, the details are really that it crashed right next to it and a piece of it landed up on its hood. But like when you initially are making the phone call, you're like, helicopter just landed right on its car, because that's what he says.
That's a perfect...
In the panic on the radio while there's flames and they're trying to help people that are falling out of the helicopter. It was like a crazy scene.
That's a perfect example of how a story's 50% wrong. Right. You know what I mean? It's just like some of the details are there and some are missing, some get lost in translation. So that was always the pressure of having to get information out. And so you had to be a little bit guarded about it, but you wanted to get information out so people knew what was happening, but you didn't want to have to come back later and have to correct things. And that was made all the more difficult if it was happening at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Senator Cunningham and everything on this episode and every episode of the EP podcast brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, our proud sponsors who give you free ATMs anywhere you go. I was out on the north side this weekend. I suddenly realized I was going to need cash. I bank at the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. That doesn't mean I don't have any options. That means every ATM is an option, because whatever the fee, they put the money back in your account. So wherever you go, whatever you do, you're only withdrawing the money you want and you're not paying for it. Get a total access checking account, free ATMs nationwide, $300 bonus with qualifying activities, mobile banking tools, award-winning customer service, no overdraft fees. You make a mistake, that isn't going to cost you either. Stop in and see the friendly folks right there in that iconic building on the corner of 95th and Pulaski, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, member FDIC. So, as I mentioned, you live over in Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
Your area, it's the 18th district. You're a state senator. And I'll be honest with you. Some of my questions are going to sound like I'm asking you civics questions because I was thinking to myself today. I have a very good understanding about what a House of Representative member does. Mm-hmm. One, my mother ran for it at one point when I was a kid, I understood that a little bit more. Yeah. And our mayor here, Kelly Burke. Yes. State rep, right? So I've had a very good understanding of what she does, especially as she became mayor and even before she did that. Right. And I was like a history minor in college, so I have a good idea of like U.S. government. Mm-hmm. But state senator, I may sound stupid here as I ask you a question. So you're in there, you're covering a big area. You've got Beverly, Evergreen Park, Mount Greenwood, Morgan Park, where I used to be. I used to be over at 80th and Spalding. What is that? Auburn, Gresham.
Yep. I have parts of Auburn, Gresham.
You've got
not
that,
there, but
and then you're out in the suburbs. Worth, Palos, Orland. Yep. You've got a big area and very different areas, right? Like my kid's learning how to drive right now, and he's noticed the difference of driving in those city urban areas and being out in Orland, and the people all have different concerns. So how do you navigate that? Because that's a big area with people that have different things on their mind.
It's a diverse area. You're right. It's a big swath. So there's about 216,000 people live in every Senate district. There's 59 Senate districts in the state, 118 House districts. And one of the easy ways to visualize this, you brought up Representative Burke. So every Senate district has 2 House districts within it. So it's double the size. Representative Burke represents the north side of my district, and Mary Gill is a representative on the south side of my district. We work together a lot because we share all the same communities. We're all nested in the same district. And my district, as you said, very diverse. So as far northeast is about 84th and Ashland in the city. As far southwest is about 143rd and Wolf Road in Orland Park. So there's a lot of diversity, a lot of different interests in that area. But there are a lot of things, too, that people have in common, whether you live on 94th Street in the city of Chicago or 94th Avenue in Orland. There are a lot of shared interests. People want to make sure that they're getting value for their tax dollars. They want to make sure their schools are well run and well funded. Those are things that are sort of universal. So even though there are some big differences in my district, a lot of the core things people want from state government are the same.
Well, one of the things that I've actually been explaining to my youngest son, my older guy who's 16, he's already heard me say this. My daughter is in college. She's heard me say this. But the little guy's 9. And they're talking a little bit about, the elections coming up. We got this big national election, all this other stuff. And he was asking me questions like, Dad, what are we? Are we a Republican? Are we a Democrat? And my response back to him was, your dad's a little different. I'm one of these guys that really believes that the stuff that's on the lower level makes more sense. Mm-hmm. The impact of my local government going up is more impactful than what's going on nationwide to me. I really felt that after COVID, right? Yep. Even during it. But the decisions that were being made at a local level, now that I've seen like how local government works in Evergreen and the actual impact that it has, I'm far more interested in what's going on here. And I kind of consider you still part in that realm because you're on the ground floor in just this area of a couple of suburbs and a section of the city of Chicago, and you're not looking at the whole state as much. Yep. So when you look at right here, even if you want to get specific to Evergreen, what are the big things right now that you hear that people have the biggest concerns of?
So you're right. The local government really does have more influence on people's day-to-day lives. And I'll explain to you in the most dramatic way that's true. Property taxes. Okay, if I go around here in Evergreen Park or anywhere in my district, and I do this, knock on the doors, talk to people, what's on your mind? The majority of people at some point or the other will mention property taxes. In Illinois, we have the second highest property taxes in the state. It's a big problem. It's something people talk about a lot. What not everyone understands is that is controlled by local government. by your school district, by your local municipality. If the town you live in has a library district or a park district, your community colleges, Cook County government, the water reclamation district. Some areas have a mosquito abatement district. All those things combined together, the money collected to operate those agencies is generated by your property taxes.
And what seems to be happening, because, and I'll jump in real quick, our last episode, we had the folks from District 124 and 231 down here. Okay,
Sure.
so that's the episode that's just out now.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like, hey, there's a cap. Like it's 5%.
That's right.
Like we're not really going, hey, we want to build a stadium, so we need more. It's just kind of a formula that occurs, and then they actually seem to be trying to give some of it back because they understand that. But it's kind of a weird thing with property taxes, if you don't mind me saying.
Sure.
I mean, like you have this home, you take care of this home, you're in this neighborhood, it's a good neighborhood, you're happy in your neighborhood. And then the property taxes may price you out of the neighborhood. And then you may see a change in the neighborhood because people are like, I can't do this, I got to move someplace else. Right. And what you run into is that people are happy with their homes, are happy with the things that are growing and that it's getting better, but then you don't really see the value when your home is all of a sudden assessed for more. Like the thing that drives me nuts is that I know that every couple of years I'm going to get a letter that says you owe more money. And then I know I'm going to go pay somebody a percentage of what they're going to save me to reduce my property tax bill.
Now, you don't have to do that.
I know, but they do it all the time. Like I did it on my own one time, and the amount of time that it took me to do it, it felt like it's worth giving them a little bit just so I can get this off my plate. I'm not saying you have to do it that way.
But a lot of people do. But I've done it.
It feels like it's almost like this thing that I expect. It's like an extra thing that I know is going to come every year. And I kind of laugh to myself, like they're always higher than where they end up. I just have to appeal. And I wish that the process would be streamlined a little bit more. If they're always wrong because I'm always winning an appeal, can't we do this a little bit better?
Yeah.
You know, that's
it's
my
a completely legitimate concern because it seems like it's a default sort of system. Like, well, nothing happens unless you complain, right? Like, or file an actual appeal. So one of the things, this is, as I said, those property taxes are set by local government. State government, the legislature, has tried to put some brakes in place. You mentioned those caps. That's what the state has put in place, put a cap on how much local governments can raise a tax rate without going to a referendum. Sometimes you'll see referendums from school districts about exceeding a cap in order to collect more money. So that's a break that state government has put in place. I do want to say, though, one of the reasons why, and this we could talk about this for hours.
Oh, I know.
You know, but one of the reasons why why the state has, in Illinois, we have such a high burden on property taxes is because state government has not properly financed education over the years. And a lot of states, the state government, through whatever taxes the state collects, which is usually income tax and sales taxes, they use that to fund education at a higher rate than we do in Illinois. Illinois really relies on property taxes to fund education, and that's what pushes your local property tax up. If anyone looks at their tax bill, depending on what district you live in, anywhere from 50%, some places can be 75, 80% of your property tax bill is going to education, your elementary school district, your high school district, your community college.
So the question is whether or not we can find a better way.
That's right.
Your offices are here. I would imagine that you pay pretty close attention to things that are going on in the village and things like that.
So, yeah. And, you know, I've lived my whole life in Beverly, right next door to Evergreen Park. I married an Evergreen Park girl. My wife, Julie, grew up at 95th in St. Louis. You know, my daughter just got engaged. She's lived her whole life in Beverly to an Evergreen Park boy. So, very, you know, we're not exactly the first family to have this, you know, close integration between Beverly and Evergreen Park. We're continuing that on. So Evergreen Park is very important to me. I consider it my base, you know, a part of my district that is closest to me and is important to me. I don't want to say that it's more important than others, but this is where I spend a lot of my time.
So I would imagine the trains aggravate you too, and the post office issues and all that other stuff like that. I know you've been working on that before.
And those are very frustrating things because they're federal. You know, one of the things, and this is something that Kelly Burke and I have pulled our hair out. I guess I've pulled out more than she has maybe over the years, is dealing with railroads because they were here before us. and they're really governed by Congress, and they don't mind telling us that. So we've had to find ways to chip away and aggravate them. We filed lawsuits against them, and I think we got things better than they were 10 years ago, but certainly not perfect. That's a never-ending battle for us, just like the post office is run by the federal government, but something we hear about our constituents about a lot and react to. Some things we can't do a lot about, other things we can. Like we talked about the school issue, and you might have talked about this when you had the people from the districts. And one of the things that I want to point out that is really unique to this area, it's only really happened in about 20 or 30 school districts in the state. When we put together a whole new education funding formula back in 2017, we created this pot of money, the property tax relief pool, that allows districts, it's a complicated formula, but that are doing what they're supposed to do as far as the state sets goals for how much you should be taxing, how much you should be spending on students. And if a district does that, they can apply to this pool of money that comes from the state and allows them to essentially rebate that to their taxpayers. As I said, there's only about 20 or 30 school districts that have been able to qualify for this. Evergreen Park High School District and Elementary School District at various times have been able to do it. Oak Lawn has too. It's been a real success for our part of the district. And it's one of the things I know that Kelly and I are most proud of from our tenure in Springfield, that we've, because the schools here are run right, they do things right, have been able to apply for extra state funding, and it's money that goes right back into the pockets of the taxpayers. So that's something we're most proud of that we've worked on over the years.
Awesome. Senator Bill Cunningham, I could sit here and talk to you for hours. I think
come
you
back
and
for a White Sox.
Yeah, come on for the White Sox show, and we'll have you back out here. And, next time we'll do it in the evening. I'll pour you a beer.
Sounds like a plan. Count me in.
Awesome. Senator Bill Cunningham is located. His office is right along 95th Street, so he's easy to find here in Evergreen Park, and nice enough to come on the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them.
Your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Spoken Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop. We're heading there in just moments to sit down with Frank Murray of the Evergreen Park Public Library to find out everything that's going on this month and to try a new dessert on the menu. First, the date this episode comes out, October 29th, is the date of Evergreen Park Community High School's Trick or Treat event, the annual event, kicking off at 4 p.m. going until 5:30. All the kids dress up. It's so much fun to bring your kids through there over at the high school, kick off the season perfectly. Lots of candy, lots of fun stuff. Go right through the main entrance of the high school starting at 4 p.m. Meanwhile, the 11th annual Fall Fest Trivia Night over at Southwest. The Bulldog Boosters are throwing this on Friday, November the 8th, 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. at the Evergreen Park American Legion Hall, 9701 South Kedzie Avenue. Get tickets and more info by emailing swboosterfundraising@gmail.com. Fanta Sci Fest returns to Evergreen Park. We were at the first ever Fanta Sci Fest. Years later, it gets bigger and better. Saturday, the 2nd of November, coming up here. A full day of what can be equated to a local Comic-Con in Evergreen Park. Rocky Soden Comics, the library's going to be out there, local authors like Z. Jeffries, the Nostalgia Corner,
a Ghostbusters exhibit, Dungeons and Dragons going on all day long. Get the kids in their costumes. You can get one more round of candy on Saturday. Kicks off at 11 a.m. on Saturday, going till 3 p.m. at the Evergreen Park Senior Center, 9547 South Homan Avenue. And if you have questions about trick-or-treating hours, I have answers. Evergreen Park is pretty normal. Official hours, 3:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. on Halloween, this Thursday, October the 31st. Now let's get out to Spoke and Vine, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie, and visit with our guy Frank Murray from the EP Library. We're back at Spoke and Vine with Frank Murray of the Evergreen Park Public Library.
Just about a month.
Yeah, I know. It's every month, but I mean, it felt like a month that went a little longer for some reason to me. Like, I missed you.
Oh, wow.
I did. I missed you.
You know where to find me.
I know, but I mean, I don't read as much as I really should. But I missed you. And I was like, I haven't seen Frank in a while. And I mean, I come in here, but they have wine.
Yeah.
They got stuff that you don't have here. So they have wine. So I've been here. I haven't seen in a while. How are you doing?
Well, I missed you too, Chris.
Good. You're supposed to say that. If you wouldn't have said that.
I know. That would have been really rude.
It would have hurt me.
Wow. But yeah, no, things have been going good. Very busy.
Yeah?
Yeah, between the library and then personal stuff, just running around 24/7. It's great.
All right, I know you're going to be disappointed in this, but we're not doing wine today.
What?
We're instead having dessert.
Oh.
And what goes better with the coffee that's sitting in front of us but tiramisu, and Bridget's going to come in here from Spoke and Vine in this beautiful, I love this color blue on this shirt. It says, "Drink wine, be happy." This is one of their celebratory shirts from when they won the Battle of Evergreen Park. I believe these are for sale, right?
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
But people are able to get them.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so tell me,
Congrats
and
again
Frank,
on the battle, on the win.
what we're having here. I mean, like, I know it's tiramisu, but I would imagine there's a story behind how you make your tiramisu.
Yes. So I think a couple important things to know, because people might have questions, are, is there alcohol in it? No, I did not use any liqueurs.
It's okay.
Yep.
All right.
Also, a lot of recipes call for eggs, like raw eggs, and I steered away from that as well. So if you're coming in to dine and you don't drink, this is a safe dessert.
Good one. Nice.
Also, if you are curious or cautious about raw eggs in your dessert, you don't have to worry about that. My little take on it was adding things like hazelnut, French vanilla, caramel, cinnamon to round out the flavors.
It looks awesome. It looks delicious.
In this
I love
edition,
the presentation. Chris just destroyed the presentation.
I have to taste it and see if it's any good.
I was hoping you could zoom in and get a great shot.
You have to break off your own piece now. Enjoy.
Thank you.
In this edition of Chris and Frank Share a Meal.
I mean, it's very good. I love it. I mean, like, the thing with tiramisu sometimes that people can make it and it can be almost watery. You know?
Yes.
It can be almost watery. It can almost be like a bread pudding. I don't like it when it's like that. This actually sits the way it's supposed to. The coffee tastes in the top of it with the chocolate is perfect. It's awesome.
Hazelnut
really good job. You made this?
Yes. Yeah. From scratch.
I'm telling you, everything I eat here is awesome. This is on the menu, I would assume, of course. This is an everyday thing.
Yes, it's now available every day.
Well, it's wonderful, Bridget. I know you guys are always getting new wines in here. The coffee, we're going to have that with the tiramisu. But I mean, the fact that you have, I think that's the best thing. Like, you're coming in here and people sometimes will assume it's just a place where I taste wine. But it's not. It has a full menu. And you come here, you have like your evening, you do a little small place, you can try out different things, you can try different wines, you can have your experience be whatever you want it to be. But if you're on like date night or just out with friends and you come in here and you go, now it's dessert time, tiramisu and coffee.
This is perfect for the nightcap. Because maybe you did go to dinner somewhere and you're like, I still have that babysitter for like another hour. Stop in, grab another glass of wine, grab a dessert, hang out, chill.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. We're going to sit here and snack on this while Frank tells me everything that's going on at the library. And this is my favorite part about this segment. The food comes out, the wine, the coffee, whatever they bring us. And then you have to stop eating to tell me everything that's going on at the library. Yeah. And I just ask you a question and I get to eat. So that's my favorite thing. Don't pick up that spoon. You have to do work now. Can I give people
a little bit of production background?
What?
You know, like these production meetings that we have before we do filming and everything?
Sure.
Chris is always like, bring out the food at the beginning. Obviously, Spoke and Vine, they get their product out there. It shows off the wonderful deliciousness that they do, which is awesome. But Chris just really wants to be able to sit there and eat while I have to sit there and talk. That's all this whole plan is.
And then after we're done, Frank finally gets to catch up and eat.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, take that bite. And then I will tell people as you're chewing, Smoke & Vine, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie, where we do this segment once a month. They're right near the library. I know you have book club that comes over here.
Yes.
And again, as I always say, this is one of the hottest spots to go to, meet people, go out if it's date night, get together with friends, 21 and over. Don't bring your children here. They can't come in. And I love that. I love that. All right, so what do we got? What's the big thing this month?
All right, the big thing this month, Chris, we're going to drop it right here on the EP podcast. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
As he takes a bite.
I'm ready. Go ahead. I'm just holding a tiramisu.
Guess what's coming back again? One of your favorite events.
Sip and sample.
Sip and sample.
Nice.
Coming back, Chris.
It's my
I knew you'd be pumped.
It's my
now you can eat the tiramisu.
So when is it coming back? And are we going to get? I would imagine these guys will be involved with wine. I would imagine you're going to get some local breweries. Tell me the scope of this and who I should expect.
Saturday, February 22nd. It's going to be your traditional sip and sample, but we're giving it a little around the world flavor.
Okay.
It's going to be the theme for this year is going to be around the world. We're still in the process of getting all of our restaurants and participants, but we're gonna be reaching out wide to everybody that wants to get involved, and of course, our fabulous Smoke & Vine. Yes.
So mark that on your calendar.
Save the date, people.
But for the month of November,
I'll start with our kids. We're going to be, of course, showing the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving movie.
Underrated Thanksgiving thing.
So that's going to be Sunday, November 22nd at 2 p.m. We're going to have a Thanksgiving craft, snack, popcorn, of course, some jelly beans, and we're going to watch the movie.
In the month of November, on your list, can you count how many times you bring children in to put their hands out, spread their fingers wide, trace it, and turn it into a turkey?
Turn it into a turkey.
Is that happening on a daily basis?
Probably every other day in November, yes. Every other day. Which is crazy.
Because I need more of those in my house.
We all do, right? I still think my mom has all of our 47 ones, that we had. No, but seriously, our youth programming has been unbelievable. We regularly have 60 to 70 people in our library every morning for story time. It's just been very popular, and yes, there'll be opportunities for everybody to make their turkey with their hands. Yeah.
Awesome.
Through November 20th. You can, we're having a non-perishable food drive. The proceeds are going to go to the Evergreen Park Food Pantry. So drop off your non-perishable items at the children's desk. We already have a large supply that's already been collected that's there. Come on in. We are also having a dial story. So Chris, you probably didn't even know this.
Dial a story?
Dial a story. We have a service where you can call a number and you will have a story read to you.
I know about this.
It's for kids. But
you told me about this. I pay attention sometimes when you talk, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, sometimes I remember things you say. I remember this,
Wow, we're finally making a breakthrough.
You just make a phone call and somebody will read you a story. I remember this.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably remember it because I was like, that's the laziest way to read a story is have somebody else do it over the phone to you. So it probably stuck in my head.
Hey, yeah, and you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be doing that with my kids, even though they're getting a little bit old for it. I'm going to be like, hey, put it on speaker, listen to the story.
Right, yeah. Listen to the stranger read you a story.
But now we can all participate in it.
Okay.
We're opening up. It's library staff that do it, but we're opening up to residents that want to participate too. They can pick out their favorite holiday story.
Wait, so I can read a story to people?
You can read a story.
So let me get this straight. Hold on a second. Stop yourself.
Yeah.
Do I go into the library for my allotted time that I'm available, or am I giving out my home phone number and all of a sudden randomly in the middle of the day some kid's going to call me up and say, read me a story, clown? Like, what is going to happen here?
Yes, you have to be on call 24/7.
24/7, like it's 2 a.m.
We hand out your personal number.
Some guy gets out of the bars late and goes,
you know
what we need a story to go along with this burrito. And the guy's calling me?
He's calling you direct, yes. You're actually going to get paged. You're going to get a pager. We're going to page you. No, Chris, come on. You would record yourself reading your favorite holiday story.
Oh, I'm recorded.
You send it in to us, and there's a number, which it's actually, for those of you that are interested and want to call in right now, 708-634-0808. It is available 24 hours, 7 days a week, every day of the year.
So when it gets listed for the person to find it, does it say the name of the book as read by this person?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
There'll be a little introduction.
Okay.
Yeah, narrated by.
Narrated by. Oh, I'm going to do this. This will be fun.
Yeah, just record it. MP3.
Does it matter what story? Kids book?
We're going
you don't
for
want
holiday.
War and Peace, right?
We're going for, yes, and a holiday theme.
Holiday themed.
Holiday theme.
All
yeah.
right.
And it's for kids, young kids. So, exactly. War and Peace might not be the greatest selection.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Or even the Chocolate War.
Right.
But,
Exactly. All right, sounds good. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it. When do I get to sign up for this?
That's going on from November 1st through the 29th.
And I just send you a recording, or do I record it over the phone?
Send a recording.
Okay, because I have recording equipment, but not everybody has that.
Right. Well, everybody on their phone.
On their phone.
Yeah,
okay.
You can just record it.
So record it on your phone.
Mm-hmm. You can send the file to us.
And then send the file in. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Mine will sound better because I have a studio, but you should try it too. Yeah, okay.
You know what? Maybe next year we'll have to set this up where we have your professional equipment set up.
Yeah. I think that you should have a recording day. I will come do recording day. I'll record people.
Idea.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah, that's why you should come to me before you do this. I wouldn't be sitting around eating tiramisu. By the way, I'm out.
You're out here. Have some more.
No, that's okay.
That's because you're just making me talk this whole time.
It's good.
And kind of going along with the theme of the holidays here, our very popular Letters to Santa starts Monday, November 18th, and it's going to go through Wednesday, December 4th. So
is that the thing where they write it at your place?
Yep, they can write it. They can take it home. They can write it home.
You're delivering.
Or we also have stuff. Yeah, we got the mailbox to the North Pole there.
You're not personally delivering it. You're just putting it in a mailbox.
Yeah, I can't. Okay. I can't. The schedule doesn't allow it.
I'm just saying you're lazy.
I know. Right. Well, that too. November 18th until December 4th. Drop off those letters. Get them mailed to Santa.
Had to start it before Thanksgiving, huh?
Have to.
Couldn't help yourself.
Have to. I know my son's already got a list going.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's how I keep them well behaved.
Too early. I don't allow it. I don't allow it, Frank.
Well,
I don't allow it.
When your son's birthday.
If my 9-year-old came to me the day before Thanksgiving and said, I want to watch the Polar Express, I would just flat say no and ground him until the day after Thanksgiving from all television and movies as a lesson. There are no Christmas movies allowed in my house until Santa Claus has appeared at the end of the Macy's parade.
Oh, wow.
Until he appears, I want no Christmas.
All right.
I don't want to see it.
All right.
Okay? I just don't.
Okay.
And then you don't really get the TV on Thanksgiving because I'm watching football. So you got to wait until the day after. So really, you got Friday. Okay?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Chris, I know you're going to love this. And this should drop. When is the pod going to drop?
It drops on Tuesdays always. So I don't know what today's date is.
So next Tuesday, right?
Yeah. The last Tuesday of the month of October.
Obviously, we did really good at our pre-production meeting.
I was busy eating tiramisu.
But our after-hours zombie Nerf War is coming back.
Okay.
The Nerf War, Friday, November 1st at 5 p.m. Nerf War in the library stacks.
Why did you choose to do the zombie thing after Halloween?
Great question.
By the way, the show came out on the 29th of October.
It's coming out the 29th of October.
You're good on this.
All right, good.
So coming up this Friday, you have a Nerf War with zombies, even though it's not Halloween, it's All Saints Day. So it's kind of a weird
Well, we're
weird
extending
day to do
it one more day.
Is that what you're doing now?
Yeah, All Souls Day, Nerf Zombie Day.
I think the Souls Day is the second.
It's the second?
And I think the Saints Day
we're
is
close.
the one. Right?
We're close. We're very creative over
Zombie
there.
Saints is what
Zombie
you're doing
Saints, zombies, whatever.
Right.
With Nerf guns. Just bring your Nerf guns. We have a limited supply of Nerf guns, so you're more than welcome to bring your own.
Nerf gun. Have you seen some of the guns that these kids have?
My
Do you really want people to bring their own?
I'm kind of scared, but
I got kids
that
fight. I got Nerf guns in my house that are like, I feel like you should have goggles on because you can take an eye out. These things are crazy what they have now.
Where there's like a sniper rifle, there's like a Gatling gun.
We have an anti-aircraft gun. It's like double-barreled and it's on a stand.
Well, hey, can I borrow that?
And it runs on automatic like battery power and fires darts like 50 feet in the air. Like,
yeah, what are you taking down, a drone?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like, that's what we have in our house. We have ridiculous amounts of Nerf guns that do ridiculous things.
Well, can I borrow it?
No.
No?
No, we need that to defend the house. You never know.
All right. Fine. Well, if it's free Friday, November 1st,
era
I'd like
of political turmoil, we're holding on to our Nerf guns for self-defense.
They're ready to go.
All right, adults.
Computer classes. We got PowerPoint Basics. That's Thursday, November 7th at 1 p.m. Learn how to create your basic PowerPoint presentation.
I still don't know how to do that.
Come on,
you know how many times I've lied on a resume in my professional career that I know how to do PowerPoint? I've done that so many times. Do you know how to do PowerPoint? Sure, I know how to do PowerPoint. Sure. And then I tell myself, I'll just learn if they ever ask me. And they never ask. They never ask. Just an inside tip for you while you're making your resume up. They never ask. They never ask. I've never done a PowerPoint in my life, but everybody thinks I can do it.
For all you kids out there, still be truthful, because they will come back to get you. we have a couple crafts coming up.
Okay.
We have a Diamond Art Snowman Coaster. That's Monday, November 11th at 6:30. There is a small fee, $3 fee when you sign up to cover the cost of the materials. But apparently Diamond Art is back. I didn't know.
What is Diamond Art?
I didn't know it was out,
What
or
is
I didn't
it?
know it was in.
I don't know what it is.
It's gems, diamond
So
gems.
you're making it out of gems, but not real diamonds, because that would cost more than $3 for materials.
Yeah, it might be a little bit
I'm
more.
just saying.
Yes,
Okay.
not on the library budget,
Right.
at least. Yeah, so Diamond Art's back. You're going to create an adorable coaster with some colorful gems.
Okay. $3 in gems.
$3.
Just so you understand what kind of gems.
You're going to have about
There's no
12
rubies
gems.
on there. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
If you don't like your layout, forget about it.
Gems
Those
are
are the
probably
12
made out of
you're in.
plastic, but it'll look really nice. It'll look great.
It'll be great, Chris.
Diamond Art.
You know what? I'm going to make one. I'm going
$3
to bring
for
you
materials.
one next month.
$3 for materials.
We're going to get you, Chris.
Okay. Finishes up strong.
And don't forget our free craft swap. This was a huge hit last year. Friday, November 1st from 2:30 to 4:30, and Saturday, November 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
You bring in a craft.
Craft supplies.
Oh.
Bring in some craft supplies.
Oh, I thought you were
swap it out with
swapping crafts that you didn't like
No,
anymore.
no, craft
like,
supplies.
Let's say you make the gem-filled snowman coaster.
Yeah.
And then after it's over, you're like, now I get why it's only $3 in materials. And you want to exchange it for something better. That's what I thought that was.
No. This is if you had extra gems for
Oh.
making that
Oh,
craft.
okay.
And you're like, you know what? I'm not going to use these 1,000 gems.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring them to the library and exchange them,
Oh,
and
okay.
somebody else can
All
use
right.
them.
Well, we had different
Yeah.
visions of what that was.
It's the EP podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP podcast. Evergreen Park.